Report is the Eagle news, notes, and analysis you need.
Go back. He looks, fires for the end zone. Intercepted. The 20, the 10, the 5. Touchdown. Matt Ware. Midfield. He's going to go. Deshaun Jackson. He steps up his head and falls forward. And he fumbles the football, and the Eagles have it. It's gone. And the Eagles win.
It's all birds. All the time.
And welcome to another edition of the AATBirds Weekly Report. I myself, Johnny Ulecka, is joined as always by Chip at Chip for the Birds. The Eagles, of course, have their mandatory minicamps, the minicamp this week. Some stuff I do want to kind of touch on with that, which may kind of correlate with what I want to talk about today in the depth of the Eagles defense. And the big thing with the Eagles defense is the defense better than last year's defense? And of course, that's tough with the way the defense struggled last year. But talent for talent, the depth wise, something I want to talk about because I think it's a little bit more.
It's interesting at certain spots.
Yeah, and it's more in depth when you take a look at the defense and the depth chart there. Then when you look at the offense, you have a lot of basically this is what it is. You don't have many question marks here and there, one or two. You have a little bit, but the defense, I think there are a lot more question marks. And we know that with the youth on the defense, with who you lost on the defense and kind of what you saw last year in the defense. So a lot of defensive talk. We're not going to get defensive on it. We're going to
not at all.
But Chip, so how is it going? And how are you doing? You know, this football season is right around the corner. You think about it, it's June already. Another month, it'll be almost close to training camp. And then, yeah, it's going to be football season close. And I know baseball season's in full swing. Both of our teams are in first place of their respective divisions. So
baseball season is in full swing.
And I am totally fine with that too. But again, football it's an all year thing. You know, everything it comes in waves, but right now is the slow period, which, again, we have our respective things that we have going on that are going to make it a little bit more fun in terms of course, they have the daily countdown, which I'm doing every day, putting a video out there. Tomorrow will be 92 days until the Eagles open up in Brazil against the Green Bay Packers.
Yep.
Of course, the end of this week is when we start to reveal our AATBirds top 100 Eagles of all time. So got some fun stuff in that top Eagles of all time, that series of dropping, I'm thinking of dropping about 5 names or like 10 players every week. On Twitter, maybe different than on Instagram on the way it's put out there, but it's going to get us all the way until probably the end of July. So when training camp kind of goes up, so it gives us that little lull period of something to talk about. But we're going to talk defense today, Chip. And
so
the one thing I want to bring into when I talk about the mandatory minicamp that started up yesterday to kind of what we're talking about in defensive is James Bradberry is still here. Oh. And Nick Sirianni talked about it. And he mentioned about James Bradberry trying some safety and how Charles Woodson did it at the end of his career. 2 totally different players, skill-wise, and everything along the lines of that. So the 2 of those guys don't correlate to being but it was interesting because he was on the field and then he walked off with a trainer and then didn't
and disappeared forever.
But I want to get your thoughts on that because it does coincide with what we want to talk about with the depth of this team.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I think that safety is one of those positions. Like, you know, we brought back CJ Gardner-Johnson. We still have Reed Blankenship. We have guys that play safety.
Sidney Brown coming off an injury. Of course,
Sidney Brown coming off an injury. Like, I like the idea and kind of like Cozy Brian here is saying, it makes him more valuable for trades. Like, look, they have to kind of pay him at this point because he's got a lot of money on the books. I just don't know if he is the best option as a member of the cornerback room. So if he's able to transition and kind of have more of a fluid position, hey, it makes the team better. We talk about this a lot. Players that have the ability to help the team in multiple places is when this team is the strongest. And with a new defensive coordinator coming in with a fresh slate and a fresh take on Bradbury, like, let's see if he can get something out of him.
And I think you have to look at it. He makes a lot. Cozy Bryant's comment here makes some really makes a lot of sense, because if they're able to get, even if it's a late round pick, 6th or 7th round. I know it's not.
We know that Howie likes to trade right around training camp. Yeah,
and listen, even if it's a 6th round pick that can turn into a 5th round pick if he plays whatever for 2026 or whatever that may be, if you're able to get any type of value, then to just cut him and do that. If you trade him, you actually do get a little bit of cap savings. Than if you were to just release them, you don't get any cap savings. It saves you a little bit from the dead money, but Cozy Brian says here, Fangio isn't going to put Bradbury in a position to fail, so safety might be Fangio's idea. Yeah, it may be his idea, and you also have to look at the cornerback situation with this team. You drafted 2 young players in Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell, so you have those 2 guys. You have Kealy Ringo, who you drafted last year, the first pick of the 4th round, traded up so you can draft him. Was the youngest Eagle on the team, and I believe they said he's like the 4th youngest right now, which is pretty crazy after being in the NFL for a year. Right. And of course, you still have Darius Slay, the vet, but Isaiah Rodgers, and you have a lot.
From everything that I've heard, and I know we're going to talk about this a little bit because I know you love him. Isaiah Rodgers is already showing off.
Yeah, and I'm more than happy. The kid's 26 years old. It's not like he's a big time veteran. They have a lot more depth at corner, and I feel in such a great position at corner and secondary that they've been in so long, because they've always patched it together with veterans, and like last year they patched it with guys off the street and veterans and bottom of the end roster guys that they had to just fill in there because of some injuries. And you don't have that now. You have guys who are young players who are top draft picks. You have Isaiah Rodgers, Kealy Ringo, a guy like Eli Rick stepped up last year, and you have nickel corners, and Avonte Maddox is back, and he's working a little bit at safety too, which is good for him because it gives him, like you were saying, a multi-dimensional player that can play multiple positions, which is great for the defense. You have a guy like Tyler Hall, who you signed from the Vegas Raiders, who played really well in that nickel spot, and he's been on a couple of rosters, has played a number amount of games, and I think that's huge. And it goes to the point, and I'm going to liken the cornerback room to kind of what the offensive line room is right now, the backup, the depth wise of the offensive line room, because when you look at the depth there, you have guys, and they just added a veteran who's, I think, started 30 something games. Max Sherpling, I think his name, Sherping, he played with Houston, played with Cincinnati. He started multiple games on the interior of the offensive line. So you add veteran there. You added veteran Hennessy and Becton. It's a lot more depth-wise than you had last year. And that goes to the cornerback position and the overall secondary, because you look at the safety, you said, getting CJ Gardner-Johnson, which to me, they know they made a mistake letting him go.
They sure did.
And getting him back
that quickly is very surprising. Like, I was not expecting to be able to get him back a year later.
I didn't think he was ever coming back. I thought that bridge was burnt and that was done. And I actually do want to bring up something. Don't make me forget this, because I want to talk the defense first before I come talking about a defender who left the Eagles, who hasn't reported to the team that he is now on. I want to talk about that. more, but I want to get into the defense. And I think the biggest question marks on this defense, when you look at the depth, and I don't know for you what it is, but for me, it's not the linebackers, because that's always seems to be a question.
Mm-hmm.
My biggest thing is who is going to be that fifth defensive lineman. So you have the Jordan Davis, you have Jalen Carter, you have Milton Williams. We know those three guys are the staples. Those are the guys who are going to play a lot of interior reps. Who's going to be the guy after them? Is it going to be Moro Ojomo, PJ Mustafers? He's Marlon Tui Pelotu. What guys are they going to go after a veteran defensive lineman to be able to give some veteran reps, which that is a position where I would love to see a veteran added, like a Calais Campbell. But what is your biggest question mark on this defense depth wise?
I mean, I do agree that D-line is depth wise a concern. Just because, losing Fletcher Cox, where he was still playing at the level that he was, it's going to hurt this team. And just the pressure that Hassan Reddick was able to get at any given moment. I think
Hassan is available. Hassan Ridgeway is available. He played here before as a veteran depth wise piece.
I think that depth wise, it's the D line. Talent wise is still the linebacker room. Like, there were noticeable improvements for sure. But I still don't think that room is up to where it needs to be yet. But I also don't know who to add that would quench my linebacker thirst. I mean, you already got me a Trotter, so I feel like I can't be too picky about it.
And I think when you look at the linebacker room, I think you have to kind of give some you have to see what you have in a guy like Jeremiah Trotter Jr. See what you have in a guy like Brandon Smith, who you got late last year and still learning. He has the size and everything to be linebacker. It's just seeing where he fits there. A guy like Zach Bond getting a lot of interior, inside linebacker play. And I know Nakobe coming back, so they're working him in and out. We want to see what you have there. But if Zach Bond can be a player that can play on the outside, can play on the inside, can give you different facets and how you have mentioned it, a multidimensional player in the defense to be able to plug and play where you want them.
Right.
It's going to be interesting. Ben Van Sumeren played the Giants game last year. Really, really good on special teams. So you have that. Devin White, of course, is your big free agent signing there. Can he kind of revitalize his career under Fangio and revitalize his career in a new scenery? Which, listen, he struggled last year. What?
It'd be a lot cooler if he did.
It would be a lot cooler to be able to kind of replicate what he did his first couple of seasons, his first season or two in the NFL. Give them that type of play. But it'll be interesting to keep watching the way the linebackers are divvied up. The reps are divvied up in minicamp and then training camp, and then we'll see, where it goes from there. But it's going to be interesting to wait. For me, the defensive line depth. When you look at the edges, of course, you have Bryce Heffa, you have Josh Sweat, you have BG.
Huff has to have a successful season.
Well, you want him to be. Listen, if he can give you double-digit sacks, it's a big-time success. But if he can create the pressures to be able to get the quarterback off his rhythm, that is also huge. It isn't always just about sacks, but if he can constantly give you that type of pressure, but like having BG, the veteran there, BG may jump inside here and there too, like Cozy Bryant was talking about in the chat. And I want to see what Nolan Smith has. Nolan Smith is a question mark, because if he can bounce back, I know it was his first season last year. I know he had the shoulder thing in preseason, which, how much did that hamper him? He's up to 245 now. So he's bigger than I think 10 to 12 pounds heavier than he was last year, which is, of course, a success. You want him to be up in that 245, 250 range for that edge rusher. Zach Bond, what is he going to be? What are you going to have in some of the guys the guys that you signed, the futures guys who have played football, and not like they're coming in as undrafted guys. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with that. So I'm interested, but I still think to me that interior defensive line is going to be the biggest question mark when you look at the guys that are fighting for that fourth spot.
I think that,
I think PJ Mustafa has the inside track to get the backup nose for Davis. He's six. I think he's like 6'3", 335 pounds. He's got the prototypical size to be that backup nose tackle. But then when you look at the other guys to get that last spot, Moro Jomo, Marlon Tuipulotu, Thomas Booker, there's a number of guys. Do they go for a veteran? And that's my biggest question, to see what they have. And they're going to know this mini camp going into training camp, where they may need to add. And I'm sure they're going to ask Fangio what he thinks, and, he'll give his input on that. But all in all, I think that defensively, I'm comfortable with the youth, because I'm excited to see it grow and the defense be able to grow, because you don't have aged, overpaid, underproducing talent of guys who are just not there anymore. It was very hard to watch Shaq Leonard play last year, because the talent that he has, but he just doesn't look like he had it.
The talent that he
had. Yes. No. And
and that's my biggest fear about Shaq Barrett, is that, like, that the Bucks wouldn't have let him walk if they didn't know something, but at the same time, they would absolutely let him walk, just like the Jets let Huff walk because they thought that Hassan Reddick is going to be the.
Which brings us to Hassan Reddick, which
I think that the guys that they brought in have to immediately contribute, along with these draft picks that we're still waiting for to step up. Like, Nolan Smith has got to step up.
Yeah, and
N'Kobe Dean has got, like, this is the year for him.
Like, you look at it like this: Nolan Smith's a first round pick. You want him to start producing. You drafted
like
him
a first round pick.
Jalix Hunt, I think he's going to be more of a special teams right now. I don't really know how much, maybe towards like the middle, towards the end of the season, once he gets his bearing and everything there, he potentially could see him possibly help out pass rushing wise. But bringing us to the pass rusher, the Eagles traded Hassan Reddick. He has not reported, and I believe Saleh really hasn't even spoke with him and talked to him, which, he's upset about his contract.
Howie know?
He doesn't want to play under that contract. He wants a new deal. That's what he wants. So it's very interesting, that situation. The Eagles able to get something. Now, if he doesn't play, he just sits out and waits for free agency, which I don't see happening. But if he doesn't meet that criteria, it's not a second round pick that you get. Okay, but you still get something for him. But yeah, it's tough. It's a tough situation for him. It's a tough situation to see, because he sees the money flying around, but he's on the wrong side of 30. He's not 27, 28, where getting a 3-year deal would be, in his situation would be great. But
right,
he's on the other side of 30, and it's tough for teams to put that kind of money out there. And it's interesting, because you're going to have some more edge rushers that are going to be coming up for contracts soon too. So, is the market going to be to the point of where these other big edge rushers get all the money, and then when Reddick is a free agent next year, it's like, he doesn't get the type of deal, gets the Eagles type of deal that they offered him back in 2022. He gets that again, or maybe a little less than that.
And I think that, and by the way, Cozy, you're doing a phenomenal job with the comments rolling in, man. We're really great job. I think the one thing that says, look, I personally, I look at the locker room vibe always when it comes to a team. And I look at, do teams inside the locker room have a common goal? And I look at two players like Devonta Smith and Hassan Reddick, right? Hassan Reddick starts complaining about the contract. Again, deserving of a good contract, but sits out of his new team's minicamp after forcing a trade because he hasn't had the contract.
Yeah.
Devonta Smith is point blank asked, hey, are you pissed off that Justin Jefferson is signing this stupid, ridiculous, humongous deal? And he responds with, I got paid. I'm good. And I'm where I want to be. And to me, that just says so much. Like, that says to me, this is a team with a very common goal. This is a team which is, I'm going to make my money because I'm deserving of it. Yeah. But I'm going to be part of a team. I mean, you saw a video of AJ Brown, right? It was just a basic drill. He fired off a ball, fired off the line, turned, caught the ball. Hated the way he ran his rep. Ran right back to the line and took another rep.
Yeah.
Because the things that you do now on the field and in the locker room will translate to playoff wins. And I just think that, look, I'm a huge Hassan Reddick fan, but I don't think he was here for the right reasons.
Like, I understand wanting to get paid.
And deservedly so.
Oh, that was a big time.
So I've been umping a lot of games.
That's a big time tweak. I may have to cut that out and make that a drop.
You can cut that all you want. That was top tier right there. I need a lozenge.
Cozy Bryant brings up a great point here. Everyone has the Tom Brady mindset. Don't need to be the highest paid. Get paid and focus on playing the game and being one step better every day. And I think
legendary.
That's huge, because if you want to be the highest paid player and you got a bunch of guys that just want to be the highest paid player at their position, you're going to get to a point where a handful of these guys aren't going to be on the team because you can't afford every single guy to be the highest paid.
Exactly.
And that's a big reason why the Eagles are one step ahead. Yeah, the squeaker speaker. One step ahead of everyone else is because they get these guys signed, and then someone else gets a bigger deal. Now, it is what it is. Jalen Waddle,
money just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
But then you have Joe Banner talking about he should fire his agent because it is listen, and he's even like, it's not always all about the money there. Like, there's ways that you don't have to. You're making a lot of money. It's about being modest. You can't overdo everything.
Think about it. Look at Devonta Smith's house. He didn't buy the humongous, ridiculously large mansion. Kyrie Irving makes a stupid ton of money. He doesn't live in a humongous, ridiculous mansion.
No, and look, it's the ultimate goal as an NFL player is to win championships. A lot of players, it's to be a champion. Now, some guys just want to make money, and so be it. But I think a lot of guys, they want to get that big contract. I think that's their big thing is when you're a rookie, you want to get to that stage where you can get a big contract and be set.
Yeah.
If you're really, really, really good, then okay, you're warranted to get a lot more money. And you look at case in point, Justin Jefferson and the Minnesota Vikings. Now you have to realize Kirk Cousins isn't playing anymore for the Vikings. So you have a rookie quarterback, which means for 4 years, he's under the rookie contract.
Correct.
So they paid Justin Jefferson a lot of money. Different than what the Chiefs did with Tyreek Hill, where they let Tyreek Hill go because they couldn't afford him. But then you look and you have Patrick Mahomes, who they won back-to-back Super Bowls. So
but
there's
you're
a
also
difference.
Going to see, like, they paid Justin Jefferson a stupid ton of money, but you are going to see a drop-off in his numbers this season.
Well, it could be because of the quarterback play.
But that's what I'm saying. Because of the quarterback play. So, like, cool on you for getting it.
Or he can have a great season, but they can wind up finishing 7-10 and miss the playoffs. So, but you have to look at now this. CeeDee Lamb is still due for a contract.
Yep.
Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Those are like the next 3 guys when it looks at contracts. And what are these guys going to get paid? It's going to be interesting to see what's next in the term of the wide receiver market, and where it goes from there. It's an interesting aspect, and I think it brings home the point of how great the Eagles are when it comes to these contract situations and being able to be ahead of it, so they don't have guys not showing up to mandatory mini camps, not showing up to OTAs, just not being there, being disgruntled because they want a new deal. They don't want to play on the 5th-year option, or 1 year left on their deal, or whatever it may be. So I give kudos to the Eagles front office for the way they handle that, because it sets them, but also it brings home the culture aspect, the culture of the team, of wanting to win and putting the team first, and being that basically tone setter, trend setter, that we want to get paid, but we still want to compete and have the best team available to compete.
Yeah. And I think, like, when you look at what we expect out of the Eagles, you expect the team to put the team first. Like, we are not a city that wants prima donnas, right? Like, T.O., okay, was a diva, but he was a diva that played his ass off. You look at the players that have been the most successful in Philadelphia across all sports. Bryce Harper is loved in Philadelphia. Why? Because he gets it. Yeah. Allen Iverson gave everything, right? These are players that just get it. And you have an entire team that's going, the only goal, like, we're going to take care of ourselves. We'll do what we have to do. But the only goal for the Philadelphia Eagles is to hoist a Lombardi trophy. That's it.
Yeah. No, you're right. It's exactly what we want. And as fans, we want to see. We want that championship, because we want to be able to be on top of that mountain as terms of fans and fanatics, and to be able to basically squeak out, scream, and sometimes you'll probably be squeaking a little bit, to all the rival fans. We want to be the top. We want to be the top team for that year, to be able to trash talk. No, we trash talk anyway, but at an elevated level, to be able to win. And that's what makes it fun. That's what is so enjoyable with it. So I hope to see it, and maybe we will sooner rather than later, but I want to see that parade again. So
me too.
But with that, again, thanks for everyone for tuning in the chat, everything. Make sure you like, subscribe to our channel. Make sure you follow all the pages on X, on Instagram. It's AAT Sports on Facebook. Make sure you're following the TikTok. Chip's been doing a great job getting the videos posted on there. The ones that were posted on the other media sites, the social media sites, he's getting them up on TikTok. So it's great to get all that in, get as many followers as possible. So we're just here to have fun, talk some birds, talk some Eagles. It's basically what it's all about. And my biggest thing here is, we're in June, we're in the slow period. I get that, but you have the daily countdown, which is great. Gives us a little bit of some fun. Trying to do some digging, trying to find some highlights that I haven't posted for the days and stuff. So try to find some fun stuff there. Try to do some recent, but I do want to try to get some older stuff, because there's some players you want to be able to celebrate for the Eagles history. And again, we will be celebrating some of these players too when it comes to the top 100 Eagles of all time, the AATBirds top 100 Eagles of all time. Yeah, so man. It will be some controversial, because some players may be a little bit higher than you think.
I mean, I already disagree with some of your list.
Yeah. That's fine. Stay on after we go. I'll tell you the rest of the list, and you can be disgruntled. I'll tell you, because I sent you about 10 or 15.
You sent me the first 20.
I did say, okay, so I did send you the whole first 20, right? Okay, I'll give you the last bit, and I'm sure you'll have some disagreement, but no, we appreciate it. Cozy Brian, absolutely appreciate it. Now, he does have a question before we head out. I do want to ask this question. What's your next jersey purchase? Saquon Barkley. I'm a Penn State fan, so for me, getting Saquon and Eagles, I'm thinking, but I'm not sure what color, whether it's going to be the green with the new word mark or the Kelly green or the black. I don't know. I'm leaning. I don't know. But it's going to be, I think it's going to be Barkley, in my opinion.
So I just got last year my Kelly green Kelsey jersey. So that was on my list. I think it's got to be my Trotter jersey.
Okay.
I got to get another Trotter jersey in my life.
Get the Trotter with the junior on.
Yeah, man.
I like that. I like that. That's a fun one too.
Yeah. Even if he only lasts a couple seasons here, it's because again, I talked about this for months. He is a nostalgia pick, and I love him. I love that he's here, but now he's got to, earn it. And I hope he does. I hope that he finds all the success, but
all in all, the jersey purchase I would like isn't a current Eagle. I would like to find a jersey of Hollis Thomas or Ike Reese just because they support the show. And I'd love to be able to rock that jersey to one of the games and one of the tailgates. But yeah, it's always fun. Again, thanks everyone for tuning in. You know where to follow us. Any questions or anything, feel free to reach out. We're always here. So next week's going to be a little different. I know Chip won't be on the show. He's got some umping up in Cooperstown he's doing.
Yes, sir. I'll be at the Hall of Fame.
That'll be some fun stuff. So I have a guest planned. So I'll have him on. We'll talk a little bit about the Eagles. I will. And what's going to be good with that is the list is going to drop. I believe the first 10 will drop, maybe a little bit more than that, but be able to break down a little bit of that and kind of go through that. So that'll be fun little content to kind of keep us busy during this period. But that's all that I got. And with that, a good go Birds.
Go Birds. Squeaky.
This is Matt Ware. Hey, for all the Eagle content you need, go follow All About the Birds. They do a damn thing. Check them out.
Hey, Eagles fans, I may be in Tampa, but I know where to find the best Eagles content out there. Check out my friends at All About the Birds.
Philadelphia, what's up? This your boy Freddie Mitchell, a.k.a. Fred X. It's all about the bird.
All birds all the time. All birds all the time.
All About the Birds provides you with weekly analysis, game recaps, informative interviews, and it's all birds all the time.